Well, good morning, and for those of you in fifth hour, good afternoon. I wanted to take an opportunity to try something new that I've never done before, and I don't know that you've ever seen it before, but the opportunity for me to come to you right in the classroom, even though I can't be there. Nathan's got spent all day yesterday, which is for me today, but all day Sunday with a really high fever, not really sure what is going on, but I decided to take the day off, and in the event that he needs to go see our doctor, I'm able to do that. But otherwise, what you guys are going to get started with is kind of what you see on the screen here behind my face is the abolitionists. This is a very important week. It's a big week, and it's something that might spill into Monday even. I've been saying over and over and over again, and I want to make sure that it sticks this time. That as we've understood what the Civil War, um, what factors led into the Civil War, we need to understand how the Civil War became a war to end slavery, a war about all about this institution, and a war to end it. And so, progressing forward today is where we start here, and you should all have this handout. If not, pause the video. Make sure everyone has this handout. The abolitionists. This is what it looks like. Hopefully, by being absent today, it gets printed in color from the office, which would be really cool. So I'll give you a moment to get those all set. All right, now as you get started, I want to take a look at the top of this. The top of this handout has two boxes, one for anti-slavery, one for abolitionist. And then the rest of the page is focusing on the 5 abolitionists that you are going to be introduced to and learn a lot about, because it's their work that has one of the most significant impacts on the Civil War. So let's get started with looking at what it means to be abolitionists versus anti-slavery. All right, Dalton, quit talking. Kyle, you too. I'm jumping hours on you. Shay, put away your phone. Because I can do these things, because I know you. Now, do I have your attention? Noah, I don't want that comment. All right, so now that we're all on the same page and we're all listening, so the idea with the sheet is to help keep track of the abolitionists you will meet. Take general notes regarding their experiences with and efforts against slavery. Now let me explain that, right? Each of these people are going to have something in their life that is going to move them, turn them, and lead them towards being an abolitionist instead of just someone who is against slavery. And there's my first hint at the definition, right? So on your sheet, I would write it on my note sheet, but I don't have my pen, my fancy pen. So I'm going to let you write this definition down for anti-slavery. So to be anti-slavery means to be against slavery, though not necessarily actively pursuing its end. I can be anti-slavery and just shrug my shoulders and be like, whatever, I don't really care. It's wrong, but what's it to me, right? I'm living in, upstate New Hampshire, and slavery is 1,000 miles away, right? So that's anti-slavery. There are 1,000 shades of anti-slavery. But when you move into this other definition of abolitionism, right? An abolitionist is someone who believes and actively pursues the end of slavery today. You know what? Today's too late. We should have done it yesterday, right? That's an abolitionist. And there are varying degrees of abolitionists, depending on their level of income, depending on what they have access to, depending on the resources, depending on their convictions, right? So the 5 people you see on this handout: Angelina Grimke, who you meet first, William Lloyd Garrison, Frederick Douglass, Harry Beecher Stowe, and John Brown, are all going to actively pursue the end of slavery. Now, they're not all necessarily going to work together. It's not like the Avengers where they all come together and save the world in a big event. Uh, Most of these people won't have regular communication. But you'll see that their paths are intertwined, and that's essential to this week. Okay, so um, hopefully you've got those 2 definitions down. I'll review them again. An anti-slavery is someone who doesn't like slavery, but isn't necessarily doing anything about it. Someone who is an abolitionist is uh, believes and actively pursues that slavery must end today, if at all possible. And they're using their resources, their time, their energy, their talents to do that. Again, pay attention to their convictions. So, um, so as you go forward into this lesson and through this week, right? This week is all about this video series on the abolitionists. One of the best, well done uh, video, three-part video series I've ever seen. And so that's the reason why I share this with you. I've shared it ever since it came out 3 years ago. So as you go, you take notes on whatever you think is noteworthy, just to kind of keep track of who they are and what they're doing. Because you'll be introduced to Angelina Grimke, and then you'll jump to William Lloyd Garrison, and then you'll come back to Grimke again later, and then you learn about Frederick Douglass, and then come back to Garrison and Frederick Douglass, and see how they get together, and so on. Right. So as it moves around, there'll be things that you'll want to just jot down. Secondly, while we watch this video, we will stop it necessarily. And as we get to a point in the video where it references something that we need to understand, like for instance the Dred Scott case, we'll get to that later this week. We'll need to stop and understand more of the details behind that. But this will take us right into the Civil War, even actually through it. And so there'll be lots of necessary stopping points for us, but this is kind of a nice guide for you. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to let Mrs. Bloom take the rest of the hour. She is going to essentially push play on part 1 of a 3-part video series on the abolitionists. That's what it's titled. I expect you all to be listening, paying attention, following along, and as you do so, jot down notes on who these characters are, their experiences with slavery, and their efforts against slavery. All right? If you have any questions, write it down on the back of the sheet or something, and then I'll address it tomorrow when we get going. I will definitely be back in school on Tuesday. Okay, so adios. I will see you guys all tomorrow.